Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've learned something today, which is that you can sit through an entire 11 hours of debate and actually enjoy it. There have been some wonderful speeches, and I've learned a lot. And I particularly was taken by the speech from my friend from the Treasury Select Committee, the member for North East Somerset. And I do want to thank members on the government benches for staying to the end of this very long debate. And I just wish that in other quarters there had been more interest in what is the most important debate that we are going to have. I want to finish by addressing two charges that have been levelled at the benches here. The first one is that in some way we are trying to thwart the will of the electorate. I recognise that the people of England on the 23rd of June voted to leave the European Union. Because they want to leave, the UK will leave. That is a done deal, but we cannot thwart that. In fact, I'll go as far to say, and I think the member for North East Somerset actually encapsulated it. I think the English nation was reborn on the 23rd of June. I think there is a new polity here. So what is important for this side of the House is how we reconfigure the relationship between the different nations of the United Kingdom. The member for North East Somerset will know perfectly well the British Constitution has always been flexible. That's its strength. That when Scotland joined the Union in 1707, we kept our own law system, legal system, we kept our own educational system. All we're asking now, in the Brexit era, is we get a similar bespoke deal. And what we want is to stay within the single market. It will probably not be the case, if that happens, that we could stay within the customs union. But fair enough. Now, my real point is, and why it's important that we have this discussion and why we will be voting against Article 50 tomorrow, is because we have not had enough discussion between the government and the devolved governments on whether or not we can actually have a bespoke deal for Scotland. Members on the other side say it's not possible. Let us discuss it before we trigger Article 50. Now, the member for Bedford made an interesting point. He said we have to move quickly to do Article 50 because if we don't, then there will be a period of uncertainty, and that way, before we get around to finishing the negotiations, and that will harm business confidence. Reasonable point. Our argument against that is if we trigger Article 50 tomorrow, or in March, if we give the Prime Minister the right to trigger Article 50 in March, we start a 2-year clock running. At the end of that 2 years, all that will be left, if we can't get a deal, will be the WTO rules. The WTO rules are nowhere near as usable as the member for Bedford thinks. Because ultimately, there's no deal on tariff allocation, there's no sensible dispute resolution system. WTO would be dangerous. Final point is, the other charge is that we are arguing this as a subterfuge so that we can have an independence referendum too. We are serious people. You have dealt with us in the APPGs, you have dealt with us in committees. Forget the banter of this chamber. We are serious people. We are offering you a deal, a bespoke deal within the United Kingdom if Scotland can stay within the single market. Test us. Put us to the test. If you think that we're bluffing, call our bluff. But the onus is now on you. Give us a bespoke deal and we can live in the UK in the single market.
Mr. David Nuttall.